Hey guys, welcome back to Pine Hollow Auto Diagnostics. Today I have not a diagnostic video, but more of a repair video that I wanted to share with you guys. And we're still working on this Audi A4 that's still here. The owner isn't in a rush to get it back, but we do have OEM wheels finally with brand new rubber. Those look a lot better than the these aftermarket pieces of garbage that finally ready for the scrap heap. But while I was here, while I was test driving it, the rear left wheel bearing started growling, and you know, I can't just let a car go like that. So that's what we're doing now. And you know, usually I just take the whole knuckle off and bring it over to the press here and do the standard press it out, press it in. But this time I wanted to try something a little different, using the Harbor Freight Special Hub Tamer kit, and with a slight modification. Let me show you what I've done here. So here is a pulley from a Subaru timing belt, just an idler pulley. Now I modified it. It's actually a bearing inside this collar, you know, the timing belt rides on here. But after watching Eric O's hub tamer video with the thrust bearing, he also modified his kit. Instead of just using a simple washer on this bolt, which obviously creates a lot of friction when you're really getting these rusty bearings out. So you want a bearing instead of just the washer. So basically the design is, this is going to go in here right on the inner race, and the outer race will push on whatever cup we choose to get the bearing out. So you can see there it rotates, and I welded the collar to the outer bearing race here so it wouldn't just pull the collar off. So we'll see how this works. I mean, this bearing isn't designed for thrust loads per se, but even if it gets through this one job, I think it'll have paid for itself, because I don't really want to take this knuckle off if I don't have to. So let's set it up and see if it works. Alright, so here's the setup. I already removed the hub itself, which is right here. That's what the hub looks like. Got it out with a slide hammer. Just pops right out. After taking the axle bolt out, which was torqued to about 500 foot-pounds, 14 millimeter hex. So anyways, and the race of the bearing came out with the hub, but that just pretty much slid right off after a few taps with a chisel, so I didn't need to grind it or torch it or anything. So now that the hub is out of the way, we want to get the rest of the bearing out, and it comes out this way. So what we're going to do is, we have our bolt, washer, homebrew thrust bearing. Now just to get it started, I'm going to use just a flat, this disc right here, and just put it right up against the knuckle. So that's going to kind of look like this. And then on the back side, we'll just choose a plate that fits into the knuckle, and we'll push the bearing out. So slide this whole assembly through. Now I did grease the whole thing with just regular marine grease. I don't know if that's the best for this application, but it's better than nothing. Now we'll just screw our nut on, and I guess I could go full gorilla with the impact right away, but I just want to see if I can get this bearing to move using 27 millimeter impact socket with a long long breaker bar, since these bolts in the cheap kits aren't known for their durability. So I don't want to wail on it with an impact and have it seize up and mess up the threads right away. So let's just get this started real quick with an impact. Alright. So make sure everything's centered. Make sure our collar is in. So this is all about prep work. You know, anyone can squeeze the trigger on an air gun, but everything has to be aligned so all the forces go into extracting the bearing and not sideways, you know, to seize up your whole assembly here. Alright, I think we're just about there. So I'm going to put a wrench on the back side. That's going to come up and hit that control arm. Tighten her down. We'll see if this works. Now see this pinch bolt up here holding the knuckle in place right here. I have the nut off, so I should probably put the nut back on so this doesn't pivot when I torque it with the breaker bar. So let me do that real quick. Well, let's do it. Maximum torque. Now wait a minute, get my wrench. Well, bearing in the car didn't budge, but my homebrew thrust bearing that was not meant for thrust pretty much disintegrated with that big lever arm. So you see the inner race got pushed in. Oh well, I guess it's time to take off this knuckle and go to the press. Hey, it's worth a shot, right? So I decided to give the hub tamer one last shot here without that thrust bearing, just, you know, how it's meant to be used. And as I'm turning it, you know, I got it real tight. And then you hear that pop. I think that means the bearing is moving. Wow. Curious. Oh yeah, I think we're in business. Well, maybe you don't need a thrust bearing, you know. Sweet. So you can see the bearing actually moved. Now it's almost flush with the knuckle. So now we need a cup to accept the bearing. You just pick, you know, a size that will accept. The outer diameter of the bearing has to be smaller than the inner diameter of the cup. And use one of these, you know, tops. So that'll go here. Then our forcing screw will just slide right in, like so, right through that side. So that should do it. And where's our knife? Right here. You know, a lot of people rag on Harbor Freight for cheap stuff, but if you lube all the threads properly and, you know, use your head, I think this stuff usually works pretty well. So let's see here. Make sure it's lined up. Wrench on that side. on the torque, the breaker bar. Alright, let's see if the 8-gallon compressor can finish this job off. Man, yeah, I'll let it recharge. Need more power. See what that looks like. There she be. Nice and rusted on the outside. We actually feel the roughness in here, so on the outer race. Looks like water contamination. Sometimes you can see pits in the races themselves, but this one doesn't look too bad, but you know, all it takes is a microscopic pit and then your bearing is going to start to roar. So, alright, clean this up, put the new one in. So the new bearing is pressed in, and I'm starting to draw some conclusions here. First of all, the forcing screw on the Harbor Freight kit, as it said in the reviews, is made out of cheap Chinese metal. You can see it's already all chewed up. It came out real hard, and that doesn't look much better. But we still have to complete the project here. We have to press in the hub into the bearing. Now that is usually a much easier, it goes in easier than the bearing into the knuckle. But I'm hoping we can lube this up one more time and get our money's worth and then put it in the scrap bucket, because I'll definitely be ordering an like OTC forcing screw that's a little more reliable. And also Eric's favorite thrust bearings, because obviously this is not a thrust bearing. It's not meant to take loads along the axis, only along the radius. So I guess that's how you learn, right? But we still got to wrap this job up. So let me grease up the forcing screw, and hopefully we can finish this job. Alright, the hub pressed in. The threads kind of cleaned themselves up, so that wasn't too bad. Nice and smooth, no free play. I think we're back in business. Alright guys, hope you learned something new. I know I did. Thanks for watching.